Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
We are opening this service tonight in synchronicity with Unity World Headquarters. They are opening World Day of Prayer at the same time at Unity Village. The World Day of Prayer is inaugurated by Silent Unity at Unity Village. And tonight we do connect heart to heart and create that network that enfolds the world in faith and in love. World Day of Prayer has an enormous scope. Those praying and those being prayed for are being blessed as 1 million at least prayers being spoken throughout the world. Hundreds of prayer ceremonies are taking place in Unity centers in U.S. and around the world. Tens of thousands are holding the light and benefiting humankind. Here at Unity Houston, a prayer vigil begins at 8 o'clock in the morning, as Reverend Karen shared with you, and we'll be praying for 12 hours. Here, from our community, we have received 6,000 names, more than 6,000 names, and they will be spoken in our prayer vigil, and they were copied and sent to Unity Village on Monday, so that they are also holding all those that you asked for in prayer, also in prayer. It's a big experience. I want you to know that I received emails from Unity Centers in Argentina, Costa Rica, Nigeria, England, and Germany, all saying that they were holding you and our community here at Unity Houston in prayer during their prayer vigils. So we are well connected. The question I have for you is, are you wanting prayer for a particular challenge? I see head shaking, yes. Know that you are being prayed for. It's this wonderful fabric of oneness. Know that each prayer is on a filament, an invisible filament, a divine current of blessings that are being sent for us and for you, all of those who are asking for prayer. These wonderful people around the world who are praying for our country. And they're praying for other countries. They're praying for life, the life of our planet, the life of the mountains, the life of the seas. Life in its infinite variety of experiences. So the world is surrounded in light and love today. So I want to tell you that of all the events that were initiated through Silent Unity at Unity Village, World Day of Prayer has impacted me the most, and it is my very favorite. My first experience of World Day of Prayer was when I was in the seminary, and I had the privilege of praying with the hands around the fountain. Karen, you remember the hands around the fountain ceremony that we used to have, yeah. It was in my first year of classes. Since that time, I've had many great experiences of World Day of Prayer. And I want to share one of my fondest memories of an earlier one. Some of you probably know, and some of you might not know, my very first ministry was Unity School India in Pune. And for those who don't know, let me just give you a little background. Unity School India, printed and distributed daily words, was the Center for Silent Unity in India and initiated and supported a multi-faith congregation. And I can tell you, some of my most meaningful work. I guess I don't want to be too particular about this. We're sharing unity principles with the children from the slums and the hutments. World Day of Prayer was such an exciting event for those kids, those that were regularly came to classes at Unity Center on Saturdays. They loved their Unity lessons, and some of them, their lessons that they especially enjoyed were the 12 powers. I remember that we had a different power every week, and then when we did the very last one, they all wore chef hats and had a different power on their chef hat, and we had fruit in a fruit bowl for each one of the powers, and they mixed it all up, and all the 12 powers by fruit. At one time, they loved it. It was really great. The one that I want to tell you about was, World Day of Prayer is always on a Thursday in September, and these kids went to school. And also what happens in September in India is there are monsoons. So after school, after class, when they came, the kids would be a bit wet, a little soggy. We would towel dry them. And the time I want to share you about is when there was about 50 kids. So they were 6 years old to young teenagers. They came in batches after school. And then they took turns in smaller groups going into the little prayer room to pray. They prayed in Marathi, Hindi, Urdu, English, whatever happened to be their native tongues. They whispered their prayers for their family, for each other, for their communities. And they never fail to offer prayers of gratitude for the people at Unity Village who were praying, and for Unity Church here in Houston, because they knew us. When the prayers were over with, they gathered in the great room and sang, "Let there be peace on earth," mostly in English. And then they said the prayer for protection, which was in different languages. And they finished off with a shout, "Yay, God!" Then there was a special treat that was brought out for them. And on this particular occasion, they were mesmerized on how their photograph was somehow on the icing on the top of the cake that was brought out. They had as much fun finding their own faces in the icing or their friends' faces than they did eating the cake. They left joyful and smiling as they ran through the rain. These children knew that prayer worked. They had been coming often enough that they had seen miracles. They had seen amazing things happen out of prayer. As I had said, I was especially passionate about children learning unity principles, especially that they came to know their great value, whether they lived in affluence or in poverty. Chandan was 10 years old, and he was always being pumped by his younger brother on the back of a bicycle to the Unity Children's classes on Saturdays. I was curious of why the older brother was being pumped. So some of the other children shared that Chandan had a hole in his heart and could not walk very far or pedal a bicycle. So I kind of took Chandan aside and said, "Tell me what's going on with this healing need you have." And he told me that he was scared to have an operation on his heart, and he didn't want his need to be a burden on his family. You see, Chandan's parents didn't have the funds for an operation. His father was a rickshaw driver. His mom was a Molly, a gardener. So the next Saturday that we gathered together, the lesson was on healing, prayer, and affirmations. We always closed the lessons by going into the chapel. So we went into the chapel at the end of the lessons, and the children asked Chandan to sit in the middle of the circle. Ooh, I get teared up when I talk about this because it's so special. Each of the 20 children, I'm 22 maybe, spoke an affirmation of healing for Chandan. They all took a breath. They all left feeling joyful. And after class, Chandan told me that he felt the experience of Ekta. Ekta is one, the one in the chapel. And he was not afraid anymore. The miracle is that within 3 weeks, Dr. Ashima is a medical doctor from Bombay. She was a trustee of Unity School, India. She made arrangements for a cardiologist friend in Pune to perform Chandan's surgery. And Dr. Ashima also arranged for the hospital fees to be handled by an NGO, which is a nonprofit organization. Chandan's surgery was successful. And after 6 months, it was Chandan who was pumping his brother on the back of that bicycle. With prayer, Chandan released his fear and took on the courage to heal. My friends, our world, here we are, and we're standing at a very crucial point of our evolution. We must make some significant choices. We are one of the most significant folks in humanity. This decade and the next decade are just essential. With all the calamities and the crisis in our midst, the choices that we make are destined to affect our children, our children's grandchildren, and indeed the world for all time. Wise choices are essential. Yes, so where do we turn for? Where do we turn for this wisdom that we need? The answers are within Spirit's domain, and prayer connects us with Spirit's divine wisdom. Prayer is the access point for our highest choices. You know, here at Unity Houston, my prayers are often focused on those in the community who will have a healing need or on a healing path. And I feel connected and at ease with this. But what can grab my attention, what can ignite my fear, is my concern for the condition of the world that I am leaving to the children. Last Saturday, Carl and I celebrated Andrew, my grandson's 4th birthday, with lots of other kids at an indoor play park. They were all over the place. Such exuberance, such joy, such energy. And my thank you, God, was over and over again ignited by my gratitude for the gift of Andrew and our other 17 grandchildren. Love on Saturday was almost tangible. And if I'm not aware, I can move into what Brene Brown calls foreboding joy. I can become so concerned for the future of these children, for all of our grandchildren, for our nieces and nephews, for the children of their children. And sometimes my concern is of what kind of world am I leaving for them? What are we doing? So I ask, Spirit, what is the curative energy that we can turn to? And then I remember the words, the reading that we heard earlier, that I am there. And I know and trust that I can trust the light, that the I am there, that I am will be present for these generations to come. I'm reminded in the midst of my earlier challenges that the light was always present for me, even when I couldn't see anything except the darkness. Can you remember a time when you saw the light in someone who was oblivious to their own light? What's there sometimes is an ember, sometimes only a spark, yet that light is there. It's always there, but just covered over, maybe with some unhealed wound, with some fear. And we can trust and know that in all there is God's presence, and that is love. I'm reminded of what Jesus said in Mark 5:15-16. You are the light of the world. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. For there is no absence of light in the darkness. Sometimes seeing the light for others and for ourselves is just a prayer away. Each person here, right now, has the light, is the light, each of you. There's nothing that you can do to become more illumined. You already are the light. You are invited to hold the intention that you will become more aware of your light, and then to intentionally expand your luminosity. So let's practice this. I invite you to close your eyes for just a moment. Bring your attention to your heart space. Breathe through your heart. Now, in this place, bring to your heart's memory an event that you are especially grateful for. A sunset at the beach, a playful child, the beautiful woods. Stay in the feeling. Capture your appreciation. Capture the feeling. Now, expand that feeling so that it completely moves out and encapsulates your body. Take a breath. See that light surrounding you. Breathe gently. Take another breath. Now pull your energy back into the room, that light back into your heart, and breathe. Bring your awareness back into the room. Now take a breath. Be aware of how your illumination, how your awareness of the light in you enhances your connectedness to yourself and to others especially. Oh, I had an example of this last week, I think it was, when David and Reverend Jean Marie and I met about the music for the service. My light was turned up by the enthusiasm that they brought with great ideas and how we could, it had me just open up my heart even more to see how we could shine our lights even more in this service tonight. Can you remember a time when your luminosity sparked light in another person? Likely. I can see, I'm looking around at people that I know have done that. Perhaps you gave a homeless your bottle of water and heard the sigh of gratitude. Maybe you encouraged somebody to grow. Maybe it's when you handed a great big huge cabbage to somebody when you volunteered out there at the mobile food bank truck and saw their smile and their question about, what am I going to do with all this? Or perhaps it was when you prayed with someone. When you uplift another's light, you are increasing your own brightness.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.